Hey boys, welcome to a brand new series. It's gonna be the Women's Rugby League World Cup. The World Cup DLC has finally been released. I've just been incredibly confused as to the timing of this, the announcement of it. Like, I made a video before talking more about it, and it's still very confusing. I still don't understand why, really. I just don't understand why this has come out at the time it has, or even at all. But it finally got released, and of course I was gonna pick it up because I was interested, like I said in the previous video, playing as the having the women's in the game. I thought is pretty cool, and that was probably the biggest thing I was actually excited for, because I mean, having the World Cup as a playable game mode, I mean, you could already, I think you could somewhat do it with like the custom creation of like your tournament and stuff, and like you could download all the World Cup teams from the community. So I'll say this right off the bat, I'm a huge fan of the Rugby League Live series. Rugby League Live 3 was awesome. I think Rugby League Live 4, I know a lot of people get frustrated with the game, but I think it's still a excellent game. But and I know some people like to think I'm just a suck up to Big Ant and whatever, but I would suggest do not buy this DLC. It's not worth $20 at all, in my opinion. Like, it's just pretty much like an aesthetic thing. Like, it's got the women's teams, which is cool. Obviously you can't get that in the original game, but other than that, there's nothing really different, because I expected it would have been cool if it was different, but the women's plays exactly the same as the men's. I mean, maybe the sprint speeds aren't as high and stuff like that, but it's the exact same gameplay. It's just the women's aesthetic to it. So yeah, I guess if you're that interested in that, you can spend the money to get the DLC. As McGregor here, one of the stars from the Ferns, makes a clean break. I didn't even talk about the game, but we're taking on the Cook Islands here. Australia, a very, very good team, and I won't talk. I might make a separate video talking about the World Cup DLC as a whole. But yeah, my first thing is, I would recommend not to buy the DLC. If you don't have Rugby League Live 4, then obviously get the World Cup edition, because it's a more up-to-date game, I guess. But if you've already got Rugby League Live 4, I personally don't think the $20 DLC is worth the price, because yeah, I mean, the game, it's the same game. And the other thing of note here is that they did actually release a patch fairly recently as well that fixed a lot of the issues. Now, I haven't played Rugby League Live 4 in a fair while, so I haven't noticed like any of the issues I was really experiencing before. So it seems like the patch did a pretty good job with all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's like I said, I might make a video talking about it separately. But we'll get back into the game here, and I guess I'll talk a bit about the women's stuff, as McGregor again is just gonna burn the fullback. Outstanding stuff. I personally think Isabel Kelly on the other side was a bigger standout than McGregor in the World Cup. She is a star, Isabel Kelly, and quite good looking as well. It's a good change of pace from the men's rugby league stuff. But we're tearing up down this left hand edge. But yeah, the Australian women's team is really good, dude, and it's awesome to see. Like, the women's sport in Australia in particular seems to be like really going well. The cricket now with the Big Bash is like, it's never going to explode to the level of the men's competition, but it's pretty big. Like, I mean, they play all those games on TV. They get decent ratings for them. The teams are getting better and better. I mean, the quality of the Big Bash women's is pretty darn good, considering it's like it hasn't been around for that long. The women's cricket depth is like improving drastically. The rugby league side of things, obviously, in terms of like the World Cup, it was only ever really down to New Zealand and Australia. I mean, England potentially could have done it, but I mean, you saw when they came up against Australia and New Zealand, they sort of got blown away. So it was a 2-horse race, which is to be expected, but the game is definitely growing like a lot in Australia for the women's stuff. I mean, they're getting a couple more like NRL teams, I guess, in their competition, and that's growing as well. So it's good to see, and it's cool that they're putting into the game. But the World Cup, the Women's World Cup, was extremely entertaining to watch. Like I said, it was a very two-sided thing, 2-horse race. But watching the Australian team and the New Zealand team, the final was excellent. I mean, I thought Australia is Walton here, the absolute monster from the bench. Beautiful play, but O'Mealy just spills the ball. That was a very good run, and it should have been a great try. But Walton, just an absolute powerhouse off the bench. So big and strong, yet pretty darn quick and quick on her feet as well. You'd think she's just a big girl, just run it straight, but actually it's like quick footwork and pretty skillful. And that's like a lot of the Australian women. I mean, they just had like a lot of just very athletic big girls. And just, against like the other teams, they sort of just overpowered them and sort of just outclassed them. I mean, Caitlin Moran, the halfback, outstanding. And I mean, they were missing like, I don't know if, obviously I don't watch like the women's rugby league games too much or anything, but Sam Bremner, I'm pretty sure she's I know she's one of their better players. I don't know if she's necessarily like their best player, but definitely one of their star players, fullback, who was out for the whole campaign. But they had their fullback filling in, Nakia Davis Walsh. She was bloody good as well. So I mean, the women's rugby league comp and standard is really good. Like watching those games, it was just entertaining. Like they were physical. It was skillful. The only real difference I noticed from the women's stuff is like the kicking. The kicking was substantially like weaker. They definitely couldn't kick it as far, but everything else, like the physicality, all that sort of stuff, it was not the same level, but it was great to watch. As we see there, a pretty resounding win. We probably should have gone on with it a little bit more, but Corbin McGregor, man of the match, women of the match. What did it actually? I didn't see what it said. I didn't know if it said man of the match or woman of the match, but I didn't even think about that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this first episode. I didn't really talk too much about the game, but stay tuned for more. I'm definitely gonna finish the series here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.